is our first meeting for VOLTHA 1.2 Sprint 4. And so that kicked off yesterday. And then we'll be taking a look at that this morning. We did close out Sprint 3 on Friday. And then, as expected, the open adapter issues were then moved into Sprint 4. And let me do a quick look also. We have a couple new JIRAs that were opened that we haven't discussed yet. So I wanted to quickly take a look at those as well. And then we'll go into looking at Sprint 4. So we did look at the documentation one previously. That's one that we have in oh, this is actually a new one. User documentation related to Kubernetes support, it looks like. Okay, and so that would be, I think, going in with 1.3.
Yes, that's correct. It's part of 1.3 migration to Kubernetes.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and move that one to 1.3. And then let me just double check. I think we need to go further back. We have a number of new ones. Here we go. Okay. And we have a batch. So Ken, thank you for getting those entered. So we have a batch of tickets related to, or JIRA issues related to Kubernetes. So I think we'll be putting all of those into 1.3. We've got deploy VOLTHA with Kubernetes. And then this is the larger epic, and then here you see the related stories, the deployment configuration, installation scripts, VOLTHA code updates, integration testing with Swarm, user documentation, and then a Kubernetes playground as well. Okay, so thank you for those. And then we have one additional one that is 576, and this was opened up yesterday. And this one is, I see, targeted for 1.3. This is on the adapter side, upgrade driver framework to BAL 2.4.6.10, the GA release. And so let me see if Kim is on.
Kim is not on today.
I do not see him on.
No.
Thanks, Tim. Okay, so this one again, it's for the following .release, and so just calling attention to it now, and we'll go ahead and move on to the Sprint discussion if there are no questions on this today.
So on this one,
yes.
Tim, is it maybe tomorrow we will discuss this on the adapter call?
Yes, let's do that. I'm hoping
Okay.
Kim will be on then. We can have a conversation on this and the other adapter issues.
Right, because I think 1.3 release is, right now we target 1.3 as the end of March, right? So I think I'm wondering whether I have not been in touch with Broadcom regarding to whether they're going to have another either minor release of the BAL coming out, maybe 2.5 or 3.0, things like that. So I do like to have opportunity to talk to Broadcom, and as we had a discussion with Deutsche Telekom yesterday. They have several use cases submitting within the VOLTHA project. I think some of them will be affecting the adapter. So I do want to know whether there will be a requirement for the BAL upgrade.
Right.
So
there's Broadcom is doing another snapshot release, 2.4.7. And that addresses the issue, the registration ID issue in BAL. So that has been released by Broadcom. Now it needs to go through and be also then integrated and updated into the Edge Core patch. And so that will come out relatively shortly. And that one, I don't know if it'll make 1.2 1.2.0, but we could look at a 1.2.x release to address this point release from Broadcom, and then also get an idea of when this. I haven't talked to Kim yet about this new story and when the 2.4.6.10 GA, because it seems like that isn't GA if we have a patch release on top of that.
2.6.10. Okay, that's GA. Okay, yeah. So that is definitely something we, whether it's 1.2.x or is a pre 1.3. That is something. I think we probably do need some guidance from the ONF. Is that are we continue to grow 1.2 or what's between 1.2 and 1.3? So we definitely want to be able to introduce the urgent, or based on the field trial of other service providers, potentially the new code or new story will be added. So, but at the same time, we do want to have a more systematic way to deal with the releases. So, Julie and Tim, I don't know, what is that something we need to discuss with the whole VOLTHA TST, or something like that.
Well, we've got a big part of the TST on the call today, so I think we can at least have part of the conversation right now. Is if there is a compelling reason to have a 1.2.x release, specifically around adapter improvements, which this would be, why would we not do that? It may be January, February timeframe, depending on how long it takes to get this through the process and what other things may need to change. But I would think that we would want to introduce this change to enable another operator's activities if we can.
Julie, shall we? I mean, do you want to do your planning first, and then we can discuss this later, or shall we just continue the discussion regarding to?
We talked about Thursday being a planning
OMCI
meeting. Is that going to be specifically and only on OMCI, or could we fit some planning discussions into that as well?
It was specifically at this point looking at the framework to support OpenOMCI. Not sure if we'll have additional time or not, so we could try and do other planning things there as well. I was expecting this call to be short today. We'll see. And so I think we probably would have time today also.
Okay.
I'm not sure we have everyone we want to have on this call for this discussion.
We have the Sienna is on, Edge Core is on, Nokia is on, and then Atran is on, and Tibet. Do we need Kim to be on?
Well, I don't have visibility to the timing on any subsequent Broadcom releases, and this one, I'm not sure if we had visibility to this one coming, this 2.4.
Okay, but hopefully, I guess that for the timeline, I think it's okay. And I don't think we need a detailed timeline. I think right now what we're trying to address is more how do we cut the release, right? So later on, once we put the adapter into the container, then this may be a less issue. So I'm going to David Bainbridge is since you involved with the ONF project a little bit more.
Yep.
So do you know exactly usually what O&M? Because right now, okay, we either it's a pre 1.3 release or it's a 1.2 dot something. Does it really what is the preference of the community usually would prefer?
I don't really understand the question, I guess.
I guess because there will be a new adapter. The adapter will need to be upgraded or updated with the new requirement coming from the Deutsche Telekom. And Deutsche Telekom will have a field trial very soon. So, I think 1.3 release will be too late for them. So I'm definitely open for 1.2.1 or 1.2.x release. So we can have official release for Deutsche Telekom to take into their field trial, right? So, and they have provided a very nice use case we can share with the community later. So
what's the difference between a 1.2.x and a 1.3, right? I mean,
I think as long as people people are working on the stories for 1.3, will continue work on 1.3, and the community will have the resource to work on 1.2.x. I think that should be okay, I guess.
I mean, in theory, once you cut a 1.2, you shouldn't be adding quote unquote features, right? They're kind of bug fixes at this point.
Right.
So the more branches you have that there's actual active feature development going on, the more problematic development's going to be, the more complex it's going to be. So if we know that this is coming, and if this is not a bug fix, why don't we just hold off and put it in 1.3? Rather than that way, once we cut 1.2, it becomes a feature release branch, and all it's going into it are bug fixes. And then when we're ready to have the new Deutsche Telekom fixes, we cut a 1.3. I guess it's not fixes, it's new features. I mean, it was difficult enough in this past release where we kind of had the adapters ongoing after the release, right? It causes problems. It's better to keep it clean.
Okay, so potentially we can
So rolling out a new feature should be a minor release. So this might be a 1.3, regardless when it happens, a 1.3 to include this registration ID, any other features associated with Deutsche Telekom's requirements,
right?
Which then push the next minor release to a 1.4. So it's
that's the so. Maybe I'm wondering, because right now I say 1.3 release is by the end of March, right? So maybe that is not a very good description of that. Maybe what we can say is Kubernetes and the OpenOMCS support is by the end of the March. And what minor release number we tag onto it, then I don't know.
I mean, Sean, I think what we need to do is get some scope and timelines around what all would be needed to support the Deutsche Telekom field trial and the amount of effort and how much time, how many sprints that would take, and then see how we can shuffle things around. But I think we need to give a sense of how much is involved for that, and then we can start, and the date that it's needed for DT, I think you may have that already. and then we can start playing around with the schedule to see what we can come up with.
Yeah.
But I think we need to know the amount of the effort.
I think
to
okay.
do that planning.
Right. So we need the work is coming. It is actually undergoing. DT put in resources. They're going to do this kind of work. So we just really need to find a release we can put it in. So I think why don't we? I'm going to have another discussion with DT on Thursday, so we can get a better, more clear picture regarding to whether they're okay with putting in a 1.3. I got a sense is 1.3 end of March they are not objecting it. So but I do want to be able to accommodate them to if they want to have something in January. Okay, so
Sean,
yeah.
since you'll be talking to them again on Thursday, how about we revisit this discussion next Tuesday?
Good.
Will that work?
That will.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything else you want to touch on with this today?
No. But David,
okay.
Thank you for providing the feedback on that. So
anytime, Sean.
Okay.
Okay, so going over to, actually, I think I may look at this view so I can see it a little more. Okay, so looking at Sprint 4, we do have the main topics here are documentation, and then we have the adapter related issues as well. And so Tim, were you planning to cover the adapter issues tomorrow, or do we need to do a recap or update today?
We can do that tomorrow.
Okay, then we will go to release notes. I believe we have most of them assigned. We do have search you on. Okay.
Backup restore is the one that's not assigned.
Yeah. I'm trying to, all of a sudden, I'm getting a sun coming through the blinds in my eyes, and I'm having a hard time seeing my screen. So bear with me for a minute. Sean knows what I'm talking about.
We have very good sunrise in the office.
Reflecting right off the lake as well, so that adds.
but no blinds apparently.
Well, we have blinds, but there's about a 4-inch gap between them, and this time of day it comes right into my face. Okay, so let's try this again. So here's the one I think that we have without an owner at this point. And Sergio, we were wondering if this was an area that you could cover if there are updates needed for the documentation for the release notes on VOLTHA Backup and Restore. Or if not, do you have suggestions on someone else who may be able to cover that?
Yeah, that goes to Ken.
Yeah, and there's no updates on that. It's the same release that we had in 1.0, so there's no changes.
Here we go. All right, so I'll get that assigned to you. Okay. So I think
in what, Julie, is that right? In the 1.0's release, there wasn't much information in there. So Ken, we would like you to put in more verbiage on that.
Oh yeah, I found there was a whole blob on backup and restore, but I'll take a look at what's there.
Yeah, take a look. Just make sure it's correct.
Okay, will do.
Thank you.
Sorry, lost my voice there for a second too. Okay, so I think that was, I'm just having a stellar morning.
You can't see, you can't hear, or you can't talk.
When I tried to dial into the bridge, it would only recognize every other digit from the access code. And so I kept trying, and finally I redialed in and it took everything. But it's
like
been a fun morning.
Moment here.
Oh,
hey,
man.
Hey, Julia.
Go ahead, John. Yes.
I have to drop. I'm
Okay.
I'm sending out an email to some of the module owners and ask them to provide more detailed information. So for the documentation portion, I will provide the adapter information before the sprint ends. So I'm just going to ask. Yeah. So I need to drop now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Sean. Okay, so we do have a handful of items that I think are not part of that adapter discussion. And so one of them, it was updated, so it is shown as in progress. So we know work has started on that. So this was adding support for proxy servers in build. And it does look like this has material up in Garrett for review. And that has been noted here also. And I have a note here from a couple of weeks back that this is going to be reviewed in Sprint 4. And so I think that was just moved to in progress since this is the sprint that's underway at the moment. So that is there and available for review. Was there a question on that item? Okay. And then this is related to adapters as well, but we don't have it tagged that way right now. Okay, for PM stats exceptions in Edge Core adapter. So I think, let's see, multi-log. Is this one that you're going to discuss on tomorrow's call, Tim, or should we talk about it here?
I don't see Satish on the call to discuss.
So yes, so I think we should push it till tomorrow. Okay, thank you. And then I think that leaves us with VOL 555. And this one is deleting support for deletion of an O and U using the XPON config interface. And again, this is with the adapters, and there is material in Garrett as well for those. So one on one on VOLTHA and then one on the driver.
Yeah, these are waiting for review by the module owners. Sienna, I think.
Yes.
Okay. And so on the Sienna side, once you have the reviews done, if you could go ahead and update accordingly, that would be great. So we have that underway. Okay. Yes. Question? Comment?
Yeah, who's reviewing this? I see. Is it Niren, or is that?
VOLTHA side I already did for the XPON. VOLTHA side for the XPON I already did. Yeah.
Thanks, Niren. I think Steve or Peter from Sienna needs to approve this for the Broadcom ONU changes.
I will send Steve a Slack message. It's possible that when Garrett is updated, we're still not seeing emails when people are added to the review. What?
Right.
Quite possible.
What's the patch number again, please?
I did send them a mail. I haven't heard back from them.
All right. You sent it to Steve?
Yes, I sent to Steve. Yes, I sent to Steve.
All right. I'll give him a Slack ping.
7190 and 7191.
Yes.
It's one of those.
It's all
7190. Yeah.
It's all 555.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. I'll send him a Slack.
Julie, I need to drop. I'll try to rejoin by mobile.
Okay, that's fine. I think we probably will end fairly quickly today as well. So no problem.
Thanks.
All right. Okay, so that's a quick status update on those items. again, this is sprint is expected to close on the 22nd. The hope is that we can do all of the patches prior to that and just leave the documentation portion open until the 22nd so that we can get everything closed up since it is nearing end of year, and many folks I think will be out of the office on vacations. And so we do want to make sure we can try and get this completed for 1.2 on the code side as you know, in a timely fashion, and then finish the cleanup on the documentation for the remainder of the sprint. So we've got a couple weeks here on this, but it is rapidly going to move by. My voice is going again, sorry. Okay, so I think that's it. Again, a heavy focus on documentation for this, as we know that we've heard comments in the past that there was a request for more complete and up-to-date documentation. So this is an effort to get things in sync and then try and keep up with that when we do the future releases so that the documentation stays in lockstep as we cut the various releases. Okay, I think that's it for the material for today. As you know, we just started the sprint. The adapter issues are going to be discussed on tomorrow's adapter call, and then on Thursday we're going to be taking a look at framework for OpenOMCI, and I'm going to try to sync up with Sean prior to that to see get a rough idea of what all he would like to have covered, and see if he has any material that needs to be presented as well. And then next Tuesday, after Sean has had his next meeting with Deutsche Telekom, then we will, during the Tuesday meeting, we'll talk about some planning efforts again to see how timelines line up related to adding in some additional work to support the Deutsche Telekom field trial and see how the release planning can line up. So I think I'll be working with Sean and Tim after Thursday, trying to prep for that and see what we can come up with by the Tuesday call. All right. Any other issues that we need to talk about with folks? I think probably we should circle back also briefly if we have any status update on the issues with Garrett and not sending notifications. I know last time we talked that there were tickets opened, but nothing had kind of resulted from that to date, and it sounds like we're probably in the same boat.
Well, the last email I got, pardon me, from ONF support was they made the change. They were waiting for another part of ONF support to submit the change or bless the change, or however they go through the process, and then it should be happening. All
right.
I haven't gotten an email after that to say it's been done. I don't know it's not working today because I haven't actually tried to add someone to review and see if an email went.
Okay. Well, that sounds like progress at least, so that's good news. Hopefully it will be resolved quickly so that
I think it's getting better because I got a notification yesterday morning about one review, which I was not getting before.
Ah, good. Okay. Good. All right. Any other topics that need discussion today? I am hearing nothing, so I think we'll go ahead and wrap up the call for today, and then I'll talk to many of you on tomorrow's call as well. So thank you, everyone. I'll go ahead and stop the recording.